2022. And we will call this meeting to order, our community update at 8 a.m. solid. So before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to please mute your phones. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you so much. So again, I want to welcome everyone to the Board of Commissioners Community Update. Let's do the Commissioners roll call. Commissioner Bell, are you with us?
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. And Commissioner Scar, are you there?
Good morning, I am.
Good morning, Commissioner Scar. Great. So let's just move directly into our agenda. Let's go to Adventist Health Tillamook. Eric Swanson. Eric.
Hey, good morning, Commissioner. How are you?
Good morning.
Good. Let's see, 16 patients in the hospital today. We have 5 patients hospitalized who are COVID positive, 1 patient boarding in the emergency department waiting for a bed. 2 surgery cases scheduled today, both are elective or non-urgent. We have yesterday, ambulance did 7 911 transports and 3 transfers. Number of hospitalized patients with COVID-19 across Oregon is 309, 6 more than yesterday. And there are 43 COVID-19 patients in intensive care unit beds, which is 7 more than yesterday. 10 of those patients are on ventilators. There are 27 available adult ICU beds out of 338 total. That's 8% availability. And 90 available adult non-ICU beds out of 1,963. That's 5% availability. And both of those are numbers for Region 1. So that's all I've got for you this morning, unless you have questions.
Thank you, Eric. Questions for Eric? So Eric, just one quick question for me. So you've got 5 COVID patients in the hospital, 1 in the emergency room waiting for a bed. Is that also a COVID patient?
That I don't know. And remember, when I tell you that they're COVID patients, that means they have a positive COVID test. They could be here for something completely unrelated, but they do have a positive test.
Understandable. I appreciate that very much. Okay.
Sure.
Perfect. Any other questions for Eric? Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Eric.
You're welcome.
Let's move on to the Coastal Caucus. I'm not sure who we have on board this morning. I see Representative Gomberg. Oh, go ahead, David.
Representative Weber was not able to join us.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do we have any others from the Coastal Caucus? Senator Armitage, Senator Anderson? Representative Gomberg, you are it this morning. Thank you for being here.
Well, I'm sorry to say, commissioners and listeners, that it seems like it's the Gomberg show from the Coastal Caucus this morning.
That's great. I love it.
And I just wanted to share with your listeners something you commissioners are all well aware of. Last week, I was able to go over to Eastern Oregon for the Eastern Oregon Economic Summit. This was quite a gathering, 2-day program that included tours and a number of breakout sessions and information presentations. And on the tours, people are going to be shocked when they hear this. Eastern Oregon's got a housing shortage. They're concerned about water. They were introducing us to agriculture and forestry and a lot of other things that should sound very familiar to the good people of Tillamook County. I, of course, was privileged to participate in a legislative panel where there were 4 Eastern Oregon legislators and I believe seven legislators from what they called Western Oregon, but I think 6 of the 7 were all from what I call the Portland area, and so there was one of me from the coast, one coastie up there on the stage. And I thought it was very interesting that this group of senior legislators all pretty much echoed the same message from their unique perspectives, their unique backgrounds, their unique geography, their unique parties, their unique districts, and that is that we're going to do better in Oregon if we can find ways to work together in Oregon. So often we struggle with what's come to be known as the urban-rural divide, and here we had a dozen legislators all stage saying that they were committed to trying to work together to bridge that divide. That was very positive news. The other message, and this is one that I in particular shared, is that when we come back to Salem in January, at least in the House, 60% of the members will have served for 2 years or less. That's a significant and remarkable number, and I just urge people to think in terms of their own business or enterprise. If 2/3 of the people working there were brand new, how would that affect their productiveness? But also think about the 2 years we're talking about, and this is a period where we were not able to have meetings in person, where the building was closed, our staff was not there, and even when we met on the floor of the House to vote, as the Constitution requires, we were imposing COVID distancing, so we never got within 6 feet of each other. And that makes it really hard to build those critical relationships that I was talking about that make it more able to bridge the divides and to work for the common good. So there's a lot going on in Oregon right now. We will have a new president of the Senate after 20 years. We have a new Speaker of the House after 10 years. We'll have a brand new governor, and all 3 candidates for governor showed up and then spoke to the Eastern Oregon Summit. It was an interesting time well spent, and listeners would be interested to know that all 3 of our Tillamook County commissioners were there. The only other thing I would add is that at the end of our presentation, there was a commitment made that we should continue to meet like this, that Eastern and urban Oregon should take the time to get together and continue to build those relationships. My suggestion was that they find neutral ground to do that, and they all come over here to the beach. So that's what I'll share with all of you this morning, and happy to take any questions about that or anything else.
Thank you, Representative Gomberg. Any questions for David Gomberg? David, thank you again for being with us, and it was great to see you in Hermiston last week. It was wonderful. So let's move on to the Tillamook County Community Health Center. Do we have Marlene Putman and or Ed Colson with us?
Good morning, Commissioner. It's Ed Colson here for you.
Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, and good morning, Tillamook County. Well, this past Sunday, June 19th, we honored and observed Juneteenth, a day of significance and power, a day to learn from the past and make changes for the future. Juneteenth was recognized as a federal holiday on June 17th, 2021, when President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law. Juneteenth recognizes and honors the emancipation of enslaved Black Americans. To read the 2022 Juneteenth Presidential Proclamation, you can head over to our Facebook page. Now, the mobile clinic and staff will be participating in the Dairy Day Parade this Saturday, June 25th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Staff will be handing out some goodies while they make their way alongside the mobile clinic through downtown Tillamook. The theme of the parade this year is Cheddar Days Are Here Again, and we couldn't agree more. We are so excited to be getting back out into the community with all of you again, and hope to see y'all waving as we walk and drive by. So now for the weekly COVID-19 update. Our weekend case count from the 17th to the 19th of June was 25. Our 7-day case count from the 12th through the 18th was 51. 14-day case count from the June 5th through the 18th was 98, and total cases for the month are 126. Total cases to date are 4,100, and we've had a total of 65 COVID-19 related deaths and 154 hospitalizations. Currently, we have 0 active outbreaks, and public health is monitoring 15 for potential outbreaks. As of the 13th, those aged 18 years old and older living in Tillamook County, 81.2% have initiated the COVID-19 vaccination and received at least 1 dose. 75.1% have completed the primary series, and 45.8% have received an extra dose of COVID-19 vaccine in addition to their primary series. According to the OHSU COVID forecast, cases are starting to crest in most regions across the state, including here in Tillamook. Many people continue to wear masks, not just for their protection, but for the protection of others. And with our county currently at high community transmission, Tillamook County Public Health still strongly encourages people to wear masks in indoor public settings. But if you are coming to a healthcare setting, masks are still required for patients, visitors, and staff. If you need any additional support, OHA has their COVID-19 case support line, and that phone number is 866-986-5885. 917-8881. That phone line is staffed by OHA on Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and closed for the holidays. You can report a positive test result, receive information on isolation guidelines, and receive support as well. You can also report a positive test result online at oregon.gov/positive COVID test. If you need anything COVID-19 related, testing, vaccinations, treatment, or counseling, you can give our health center a call. It's 842-3900 to schedule. Now, pediatric Moderna and Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines are now approved for use in Oregon for children ages 6 months and older. A 2-dose Moderna vaccine series is available to children 6 months to under 6 years of age. A 3-dose Pfizer vaccination is available to children 6 months to under 5 years old. Our health center has placed an order for both the pediatric Moderna and Pfizer and expect it to arrive very soon. So once it does arrive, we will be able to start scheduling appointments. Be sure to talk with your trusted healthcare professional if you have questions or concerns, and our public health nurse line remains available by giving us a call at 842-3940. So summer plans are starting as school year wraps up and the weather warms. So along with your plans that you're making, choose to have the added protection of COVID-19 vaccine boosters. You're best protected from COVID-19 when you stay up to date on these recommended vaccines. So everyone aged 5 years old and older should get one booster after completing their primary series, and those aged 50 and older and those immunocompromised should get 2 booster doses. If you're looking for a place to find those vaccines, you can contact our health center, Safeway, Fred Meyer, Tillamook Pharmacy, Adventist Health, and Nehalem Bay Health Center also have vaccines available. If you need a test kit, they're also available from our county libraries as well as at all of our clinic locations, and you can also place an order at covidtest.gov to have it delivered to your home via U.S. Postal Service. You can also get tested at our healthcare facilities and our partners throughout the county, as well as at local pharmacies. And finally, if you have any other questions related to COVID-19, please give us a call at 503-842-3940, and we'll return those calls within 24 business hours. So that's our update for the Health Center. We'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate that very much. Any questions for Ed Colson? Ed, again, thank you for being here. Let's move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Gail Nelson. Gail, are you with us? Anyone from the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy? Let's move on to the Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Frank Hanna-Williams. Frank.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Frank Hanna-Williams, Director, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. You can reach us at 503-842-8201 for questions that you may have about behavioral health services in Tillamook County that we provide. Information, appointments, concerns or questions regarding our Question, Persuade, and Refer QPR Suicide Prevention Series, parenting services, and other services that we provide. Again, you can reach us at 503-842-8201, and I'll take any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you, Frank. Any questions for Frank Hanna-Williams? Thank you, Frank, for being here. Let's move on to the Sheriff's Office. I just got a note that unfortunately Sheriff Brown will not be able to attend with us this morning. Do we have Matt Kelly? Matt, are you on with us? Okay, let's move on to Emergency Management. Randy Thorpe. Randy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to report back on the Able Readiness 2 exercise that was conducted up in Manzanita last week with the Emergency Volunteer Corps of Nehalem Bay and the Oregon Department of Human Resources. Even though they got a little bit of rain, they had excellent participation by the CERT team and the Medical Reserve Corps up there. they learned a lot of lessons learned, I guess, and how to even make their operations even better. The Thursday was the community kind of a show and tell. It went really well. I was surprised and glad that there was so many people show up, even though we did get a little bit of drizzle that morning. So it was a great exercise, and I was really impressed with the capabilities of our groups up there. And that's all I've got for right now. And if Gordon's on, I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Randy. Gordon McCraw.
Yes, sir. Good morning to everybody. Well, like I said in my report yesterday, it looks like Mother Nature has finally read the memo. Today is, in fact, the first day of summer, the summer solstice, and it's even the longest day of the year. The sun came up at 5:27 this morning, and it doesn't go down until 9:08 tonight, so that's over 15 hours of daylight today. After today, we start losing daylight, and by the end of the week, we've lost around 4 minutes, which also happens to be the end of the month. So the high pressure is building in, as you might guess, from the west, and low pressure is off to our east. So that is giving us some breezy afternoon winds that'll be gusting up to around 85 today. High is going to be around 70. The winds will die off tonight, and the low clouds are going to return, maybe some patchy fog. With the ridge weakening a little, tomorrow the high is only going to be around 66. But with conditions the way they are, you'll see a little bit breezier afternoon, winds gusting to around 30. The Thursday is when things really start to change. The winds won't be as gusty. The morning stratus won't be as thick, and they'll burn off sooner. And then by Friday, we're up to 76 degrees. And I guess we'll call it the June Dairy Parade report for Saturday. You're looking at sunny skies with an afternoon high climbing up to around 82. So people, please remember all the summer outdoor safety precautions, especially during the parade. Wear and apply frequently that sunscreen, drink plenty of fluids, and don't stay in a hot car. And whatever you do, don't leave the kids or pets in the car, because it gets quite hot in the car quite fast. And Saturday is going to be that day where it's going to be hot. And Sunday doesn't look too much cooler. It's going to be 81. And then next week, the long-range models still show that the high pressure is going to dominate. So the beginning of next week, we're still going to be seeing the mid to upper 70s. So we need to continue to take all those summer precautions into next week. And with that, I'll quit while the weather's good.
Thank you, Gordon, for that report. Appreciate you being here. Next is the Board of Commissioners. Let's start with Commissioner Bell.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I'd like to say good morning. I'd like to say happy anniversary to Gordon and Heidi, who I believe just passed their 45th wedding anniversary.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well,
that's great.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about a couple things. One is I had the opportunity to participate in the Able Readiness Preparedness exercise that Randy Thorpe was talking about, and I wanted to just expound on that a little bit, because it was just it was wonderful. It was a terrific exercise. It was a 2-day exercise. We had multiple state agencies here helping us with it. It was only the second exercise of its kind in the state, and they chose the NVC, the Nehalem Bay Volunteer Corps from North County to participate in this exercise, because they're so well organized. And so as Randy said, the Oregon Department of Human Services was there, as was the Oregon Resilience Officer, which I didn't even know was a position, but there is an Oregon Resilience Officer who reports to Governor Brown. And, of course, the Oregon Department of Emergency Management, and they had been previously in office, and they're becoming their own stand-up department. And I got to interact with folks from all of those agencies, and they unanimously, what I heard was that North Tillamook County, the EVCNB, and the Medical Reserve Corps are the models for the entire state of Oregon, and all of them hope that we can stand that model up and move it throughout the state to all communities that are in danger of disasters. And I just couldn't agree more. I'm so proud of the work that's done here in Tillamook County on emergency preparedness, and that's been my vision for years, that we can figure out how to enable all of the communities on the Tillamook coast to become as prepared as possible, that we can provide whatever supports are necessary for them to do that. And the North County group has a big head start because they've been doing it for, I think, 17 years. But it's never too late to start. And there are lots of places in the state that haven't even begun this work, and we have the best role models available. So I was just really, really proud of our team and all of the people who participated. It was the cities, the northern cities were there, and it was outstanding. And so, as Randy said, on Wednesday there was a training exercise so that everybody got to learn what the system would look like, and it was a mass care system. So if there were a disaster and a lot of people needed medical aid, or an evacuation center all of a sudden. So that's the kind of exercise it was, and that we got to practice, and there were systems there. There was a vendor there who's put together a system for emergency preparedness efforts that was just outstanding. It was a canvas-sided tent, and in fact a big metal box that looked sort of like a school locker. And everything 8 people would need for 2 weeks was in this metal locker, including this huge canvas tent, and all the cots, and all the food, and all the water, and sleeping bags, et cetera, that 8 people would need for 2 weeks. And so they set up several of those tents and called them dorms, and they were part of the exercise. There was a kitchen tent. The City of Manzanita recently received a donation from Coos County of a huge kitchen system that would be like an army kitchen system, and so we got to look at that. That was outstanding. We got to see how the Medical Reserve Corps was operating, and also and their triage system, and we got to learn from them what they have and what they need, that they desperately need, just basic over-the-counter medications that they could give people in an emergency. And they also need volunteers, medically trained people who would be willing to stand up and serve in an emergency. And we got to learn about the communication system, which was really cool. There were things that I didn't know about. I had no idea we were doing in communications that were really impressive. And also the water system, like what would happen for sewage in an emergency if the sewer lines weren't working. And so it was outstanding. So Wednesday, everybody got to learn and train on the system. And then on Thursday, the public came and went through station by station, and it was just as smooth as clockwork. And so I am full of enthusiasm for the work that we're doing in emergency preparedness, and I was so encouraged by the partnership from the state agencies and of course all of our volunteers, but the state agencies were here and they were so impressed and so effusive in their praise of the work that we're doing in Tillamook County. It just seems like there's a lot of momentum right now for investment at the state level, and I hope that's true, because we could certainly invest in some of that equipment and some of those systems and better prepare our communities. And I know Representative Weber was there. I didn't see her when she was there, but somebody told me that she had been there and they'd had a great talk with her about it. And so it was bravo to everybody who worked really hard on that. The preparation for that had been going on for months, and people worked really hard on it, and it was, I think, really good things will come of it. So I'm happy to give that report. And also, I wanted to let the community know that we have a new librarian. We have a new person, Sarah Beeler, who had been our lead librarian for the Tillamook County branch, retired. And the person who was hired to replace her is a woman named Wendy, and we had to wait a while for her because she was working as a school librarian in Alaska, and so we had to wait for the school year to end for her to join us, and she has. She joined us last week. So if you're in the main branch of the Tillamook Library, please say hi, introduce yourself to Wendy. We're thrilled to have her here and really encouraged. And also, we have hired a new head librarian, a new director of the library system, and that's Don Algier. And Don will start in mid-July, so we're thrilled about that. Don and his family live here. They moved here to Rockaway Beach, and they live here, and they have invested in our community. And Don is I think, 16-year veteran of Multnomah County Library, where he was the director of operations there, and he comes with glowing references. Just outstanding references and so much knowledge in the field of library management that we are very lucky to get him. And we had a wonderful interview process with him, and I'm thrilled that we're going to be working with Don. And so that's a couple of pieces of good news, and I think I will sign off there.
Thank you, Commissioner Bell. That's two pieces of terrific news. Things went well. I appreciate that much. It was great to be involved in the hiring process interviews, and that was wonderful. Okay, so let's move on to Commissioner Scar. Commissioner.
Good morning. Well, I too was pleased to participate in the interviews with the library director candidates, and am super excited to have Don join us. It's unusual in Tillamook County that we find the person we need just already living here for these high-level positions, and having Don already be located and settled in our communities is an amazing find, and I think he's going to be fabulous for our library system. So I'm too excited to welcome Don. I will speak just briefly about the Eastern Oregon Summit. It was a great opportunity to go and learn from other parts of our state, to bring back pieces and projects that perhaps can benefit our work here. So not surprisingly, there were many tours and sort of tracks you could go on, and not surprisingly, I followed the housing track through Eastern Oregon, which started with a tour on Thursday, which allowed me to visit housing that was currently being built in Hermiston and Pendleton and Boardman and out in Umatilla, and to understand sort of the challenges they face and how they are addressing those challenges. So there are some great pieces that I look to hopefully bring back to Tillamook County relating to incentives that they are providing to developers, not only for multifamily, but also for duplexes and triplexes. So there's some things that I hope we can look at related to that. So those are just great learnings, and as Representative Gomberg talked about, having the opportunity to hear from the three gubernatorial candidates, as well as an economic advisor from Echo Northwest, and of course all of our state legislators was just really enlightening. So good opportunity, and I'm happy I was able to take part. The last thing I'll mention, because I'm going to keep mine short this morning, is just to let folks know, if you have been interested in and following the potential incorporation for Oceanside, the process that was originally started with a petition was ended, and a new petition has been submitted, and we will have our first hearing for that on Monday at 8:30. That is a hearing that you can join virtually. You can certainly send in your testimony, you can register to provide testimony. So just for those who are watching that process, to let you all know that it is beginning again with a fresh petition and fresh information, and that Monday at 8:30 is that first hearing. All right, thank you. I will sign off.
Thank you, Commissioner Scar. That was a great time in Hermiston last week. So just so everyone knows, we started on Wednesday, actually, with an AOC legislative retreat. It was an all-day legislative retreat meeting, and it was great to have. It's just great to be back in person again. I mean, working virtually is great, especially when there are issues like a pandemic running around. But you do lose that one-on-one contact with people, and I think therein lies one of the issues. I mean, it's very easy to become distracted or frustrated when you're online talking about very important topics. Getting back in front of each other and building those relationships again. We've gone through a county college class last year, which was all virtual, unlike my county college class back in 2017, where we spent weeks together, it's just a great way to learn about people and learn about where they come from, learn about their counties. Again, if you've seen one Oregon county, you have seen one Oregon county. And that is so true. So it was great to start last week at the AOC legislative retreat. Went into the Eastern Oregon Economic Summit, and I learned so much on that summit. So on Thursday, the first thing we did was there were, I believe, 5 or 6 tours scheduled. I chose the forestry tour, of course, and was very, very pleased to have Joe Justice, a Board of Forestry member, as one of our tour guides. We went up into the Wallowas, and it was a great time. So Joe Justice actually is a forest manager for Manulife. And I didn't know this. He actually manages 270,000 acres for Manulife up in the Wallowas, and this is really my first time into a pine forest, although it's not like Central Oregon and their pine forest. Eastern Oregon has mountain ranges, and up on the tops of those mountain ranges, they're actually, after a harvest, they're actually planting some Doug fir and hem fir as well as pine, and I was totally amazed. Joe Justice, again, a Board of Forestry member, understands sustainable forestry, and he's very, very good at it. So it was great to talk with him, and the next day we had a series of meetings, and as Representative Gomberg and Aaron Scar mentioned, it was just a great day, a great couple of days at the Eastern Oregon Economic Summit. So I was glad to be there. I do hope to see everyone at the June Dairy Parade this Saturday. So I'm participating with Tillamook Working Lands and Waters Cooperative. We have a float, and we'll be in the parade, and I understand we're going to have a lot of candy to throw around and all, so I think that's just wonderful too. And so I want to talk, since we have a little bit of time this morning, I want to get back to the topic of the NOAA Fisheries FEMA biological opinion. And I mean, this is something that is going to be devastating, has the potential to be devastating for Tillamook County. I was very glad to hear that we've been talking about this a long time. I've been talking about this for a long time also at AOC, and we have gotten Eastern Oregon counties involved. Just very briefly, 3 that I know of: Wallowa County, Umatilla County, Union County. You don't think in terms of those areas having a lot of flood potential, but they really do. It was amazing driving up 84 on Tuesday afternoon along the Columbia. For this time of year, the Columbia and the Willamette actually had flood warnings issued on them last week because of all the late season rain we've gotten. And the Columbia River was absolutely bank full. and they had some flooding issues in Umatilla and in Union counties while we were there. So you don't think of flood issues. Of course, Tillamook County, Coos County, in this area, you think of all sorts of different floods that we have. But this biological opinion, this NOAA Fisheries FEMA BiOp, has the potential to really affect so many other counties, not only across Oregon, but across the nation now. At the end of last year, they started working on their nationwide rollout for the NOAA Fisheries FEMA BiOp. We are very fortunate that we have some federal legislators in Oregon that are right on top of things. They are very active in what I am doing. This July, in about a month from now, I'm going to be going to Denver for the NACO, the National Association of Counties, annual conference. And so in February of 2021, I was at the NACO Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C., and got passed a resolution unanimously in two committees, Justice and Public Safety and EELU, Energy, Environment, and Land Use Steering Committee, about the BiOp. So it's time. So our resolutions are good for 1 year. So I'm going back to NACO again in July, and I'm going to re-up a slightly revised version of the resolution for Oregon. But one of the things that Congressman Schrader and Congressman DeFazio want me to do is to really start bringing on other states, states like Florida and Texas and California and New Jersey and Alabama and Louisiana, which are going to be, again, greatly affected by this NOAA Fisheries FEMA BiOp. So that's going to be, so I've got two resolutions I'm taking back with me to Denver. One, of course, is the revised Oregon resolution, but I'm also taking back with me a nationwide resolution on the BiOp. My goal there is really to involve as many different commissioners from across the nation as we can and ask them to talk to their federal legislators. So our delegation, and there's actually quite a few involved, the few that I know of currently, of course, are Congressman Schrader, Congressman DeFazio, Congresswoman Bonamici. She is going to be representing Tillamook County come the first of the year, and so Schrader and DeFazio are bringing her up to speed on what this NOAA Fisheries FEMA BiOp really means. Congressman Bantz is now fully involved because of the Eastern Oregon counties figuring out that this is going to affect them in some very difficult ways also. Congressman Bantz is on board. And we're also talking with Wyden and Merkley, of course. So I think we have some momentum here in trying to find a different path, maybe a less onerous path for this NOAA Fisheries FEMA BiOp. So again, I'm just something we continue to work on here in Tillamook County because it, again, has the potential to be so devastating, especially for Tillamook County. So with that, I'll get off my soapbox here, and let's move on to the cities. City of Manzanita, Mike Scott. Mike, are you with us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm really glad that so many of you were able to attend that event last week, the Able Readiness 2. It turned out to be very successful. And Representative Weber was there. We took a tour together on Thursday. So thanks again to everybody for participating. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mayor Scott. City of Nehalem, Melissa Thompson-Kiefer or anyone else from Nehalem? City of Wheeler, do we have Doug Honeycutt or any of the city council people from Wheeler? Let's move on to Rockaway Beach. Do we have Mayor Sue Wilson or any of the other city councilors with us? How about City of Garibaldi? Mayor Tim Hall. Mayor, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone. And
good morning.
A hoarse voice. The City of Garibaldi will be holding its regular council meeting tonight at 6:30. the agenda is on our website. Also, I want to remind folks that Garibaldi Days is coming July 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, and we are looking forward to having so many of our regional Tillamook County guests coming to our town. So we're looking forward to that visit and that event. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Hall. That is a great event. Garibaldi's Days is so much fun. Thank you for the invitation. So let's move on to the city of Bay City. David McCall. David, are you with us? Anyone else from Bay City? Let's move on to the city of Tillamook. Nathan George. Nathan, are you with us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioner. I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, good morning.
Wonderful. Good morning. Yes, I have several things. Thank you very much. I want to provide a brief update on last night's council meeting. We discussed the wastewater master plan and the work that we're doing on the east side of town to help mitigate and fix all the sewer issues. Commissioner Scar attended, which we greatly appreciate her doing that. Also, we had some discussion at the council meeting. Our executive director of the sorry, I can't think this morning, of the YMCA stood up and talked about some sign code issues that he's having, and the city wants to do everything we can to try to look at that issue. Also, wanted to give a really big shout out and let you know that the officer Tim Sadler last night was given a medal of valor for his exemplary and courageous actions of running into a burning building to save all the lives in an apartment fire in downtown Tillamook last month. This was also posted on our city's Facebook page. Normally, police officers aren't as much in the business of going into burning buildings as our fire district is. However, in this case, he was the first one on the scene and no one else had showed up yet. And he ran in all 3 floors and knocked on doors and was able to successfully get everybody out of the building. So he was awarded a Medal of Valor, and we just want to say how grateful we are to have such an exemplary person and other persons in our police department. So also wanted to let you know that the city council appointed Mr. Patrick Matthews to serve on the Planning Commission, which now fulfills all of our vacancies on the Planning Commission. We still do have a vacancy on TURA and on the Budget Committee. Also, the council approved the budget for the city of Tillamook as was recommended by the Budget Committee a few weeks ago. And we also approved the resolution, declaring the city's election to receive state revenues, which is about $65,000 in state revenues, particularly what it's talking about. Also, we discussed last night the Tillamook People Utilities District and the Tillamook Urban Renewal Agency contracts with the city. The city had entered into a contract with the TPUD prior to my arrival to do underground burial in the downtown, which looks very nice. But there was no limit set on that. But however, the city turned around and also had a contract with TURA, but there was a amount set. So the contract for the underground went over the amount that was set by TURA. So the city is trying to figure out how to pay for the extra amount, and we just want TURA to know that the city is supportive of trying to figure out what can be done. So there wasn't a whole lot more than that. There was Councilor Henson thanked our Public Works Department for taking care of the sinkholes and meadows and had a real shout out to our Public Works Department. Also wanted to state that the city's first Movies in the Park this summer will be held on July 15th at dusk. The movie will be played at Goodspeed Park and free popcorn will be served. Also, all staff in the Public Works Department is still focused on preparing for the June Dairy Parade this week, which will be held coming on Saturday, the 22nd. Please exercise caution and respect with no parking signs are being deployed and set up downtown in preparation for Saturday's event. The Water Division of Public Works is working with the City of Bay City on an intertie operations today. For those of you who don't know, the City of Tillamook and the City of Bay City are connected with our water utilities in order to assist each other in case of emergencies or other serious problems. So they're doing some work on that this morning. Today. The Wastewater Division of Public Works is continuing to work on maintenance and operation items of the treatment facility this week. Also, as was updated last night in the council work session, the Wastewater Division has been going out and fixing the I&I issues on the east side of town within the city's jurisdiction on the city side as the city works to address the serious capacity issues on that side of the town. In the Public Works Streets Department, the city's only 2 members of staff are continue to prepare for the parade route with sweeping, performing street repairs, and getting the signage prepped. As I mentioned a little bit about the signage already. The Tillamook Police Department has scheduled the SRO, which is our school resource officer, which we're excited we'll have this fall, for the conference in August to meet the requirements for the Department of Justice grant that partially pays for this position. The police department is also finalizing the crisis intervention training for the fall, which will be held in the city of Seaside, Oregon. In fact, this morning, Lieutenant Troxel will be meeting with representatives in Clatsop County to put on the final piece of this, and we appreciate his tireless efforts on this project, which has been amazing. We also met, the police department, met with the housing coordinator along with the planning director, and Lieutenant Troxel was representing the city on the advisory committee for homelessness. Also, the city wants to thank especially the police department wants to thank all the overwhelming support from council, city employees, and community last night. So we really believe, the city police department, all of our city, we really believe in heartfelt support, why we believe so strongly in servant leadership as a city. And we understand as a team how powerful it is to work together and build relationships among ourselves and our community. And that is all I have, Commissioner. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nathan, for being with us this morning. Last but certainly not least, South County, Doug Olson. Doug, are you with us?
I am. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
A couple of things here. First, I'll put my Chamber of Commerce hat on. The summer events are coming together rather nicely. The Clover's Day will be held on July 2nd, and that's the only parade that we know of in America led by a cow right down Highway 101. So there'll be some vendors there, live music, some good refreshments, lots of food to eat, and a parade at 11 o'clock. We also have arranged now for our fireworks on July 4th at dusk, about 10 o'clock, and it's bigger and better. And also Nescoin is doing fireworks again this year. They had hold back for several years or taken it off the agenda, and it's back on. So there'll be 2 large fireworks display on July 4th, one in Nescoin and one in Pacific City. And then we're also about to put everything together for Dory Days, which is the 3rd weekend in July. Summer normal, which is a very good thing. Now I'd like to put on my Tillamook PUD hat for a moment and talk about Tillamook Lightwave. I represent PUD on Tillamook Lightwave, which is a middle-mile fiber optic provider for internet services throughout Tillamook County. Listeners would know there's a number of cable landing stations in throughout Tillamook County, or I should say cable landings, where overseas submarine cable comes into America right here in Tillamook County. We have Microsoft coming in and has been for several years, the University of Washington and their Oceans Observatory Initiative, a Waikiki submarine cable from New Zealand, Australia, Hawaii comes in right here in Pacific City. And there's a new one now that information was just publicly released in the last few days. Amazon is bringing in a cable from Asia, and it will land in Camp Wainema, which is between Pacific City and Nescoin. And they have arranged for a perpetual lease, and the cable will come up Highway 101 into Tillamook and then turn up Highway 6 and connect into the major connection points in the Hillsborough area. Now, why that is important is as they go up Highway 6, that's going to offer quite a number of opportunities for people who live up that way to get high-speed internet. And maybe more importantly, it's going to offer some opportunities for cell phone companies to attach to that particular cable and the internet and provide cable service, or not cable, Wi-Fi and telephone service that we currently don't have. Those of you who drive Highway 6 frequently know there's a dead spot from about milepost 15 all the way over the top, almost till you get into Banks and the Glenwood area. That might be relieved by using this new cable, fiber optic cable, that will be coming across Highway 6. So lots of things happening, and this there will be a hearing on that. Actually, not a hearing, I guess a community meeting to explain here in Pacific City. There'll be one at noon on Monday, coming up this next Monday, and another at 4. And Amazon will have some technical people there, and the contractor, which is Astound/Wave, the same contractor that maintains the system for Tillamook Lightwave, will be there. So good time to find out what's going on. So things are happening. This has been in the works, by the way, for about 3 years, and it's finally coming together. And so we have some hope for Highway 6 and cell phone service. So that's a really, really good thing. So with that, I'll be quiet and let you continue your meeting, Commissioner. Thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, Doug. I certainly was remiss in not speaking of it, but I knew you would. So I plan on attending both meetings on Monday, both the noon meeting and the 4 o'clock meeting at the Kiwanda Community Center in Pacific City. There's a lot to talk about there, which is terrific. So with that, I want to thank KTIL especially for broadcasting this every Tuesday morning. We appreciate it so much, and I want to thank everyone for attending. And with that, time being 8:50 a.m., we will adjourn this community call. Thank you, everyone.